is here.
It's a blast from the past.
Good night, UNC family. Thank you very much for that warm introduction, the very hardworking councillor of the Siparia Borough Corporation. I want to recognize the political leader of the United National Congress, in whose constituency we are tonight, and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And of course, my fellow speakers on the platform from the neighboring constituencies, Dr. Rudal Munilal from Oropouche East, Mr. Dave Tanku from Oropouche West. All colleagues in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago and the representatives from local government bodies, NATEX members, including the erstwhile and former Member of Parliament, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, who's journeyed all the way from Port of Spain to be with us here in South tonight. And of course, we have one of the co-chairs, the chairman, hard-working chairman of the PDRC and the mayor of the Siparia Borough Corporation, our thousands of well-wishers and supporters, members of the media, my UNC family, and I say a special greetings to our supporters from Fyzabad tonight. So good evening. My brothers and sisters, are you ready for victory in the 2 local government elections on June 17th? And we just heard from a resident of the Queen Anne Mon Diablo electoral district right here about the needs and aspirations that community will expect. Are you ready for the soon-to-be-called general elections to remove this government and to restore sanity to Trinidad and Tobago by a UNC government? So, my brothers and sisters, sadly, our great nation is in a state of decline. This government seems to have abdicated all of its responsibilities to you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. This government has canceled their social contract with you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, on whose behalf they are spending your money. This government believes that it is okay to not provide resources and necessary services to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. My brothers and sisters, tonight I will focus on the health sector and the shortcomings and the challenges in the health sector. But before I go there, I just want to dwell briefly on 2 or 3 pertinent issues in my own constituency of Fyzabad. This morning, the constituents of Fyzabad woke up to the gruesome discovery of a decomposing body in Ramatali Park, Avocat, possibly that of a missing security guard, and if so, would be a resident of Fyzabad. My condolences go to the family, who I know very well, if that is the case. Last week, of course, Fyzabad witnessed the senseless killing of a Darsan Trace resident by criminals when he boarded a vehicle. He and someone else boarded a vehicle just to, to go to work, to make an honest day's living, to support his family in this difficult time. And of course, on my way here, and as you prepare a speech, Mayor, you have to update it by the minute. Because on my way here, we heard again of the finding of another resident of Fyzabad who was found dead in the Mondesi area here. Ladies and gentlemen, of that Darsan Trace incident, a second victim who survived the shooting but has remained mentally scarred. And when I spoke, with his mother, because I know the mother well, she worked as a nurse at one of the facilities I worked. And she told me, I asked how is the son? She said, he is well, but he's in hiding. He's mentally scarred, but he's hiding. Why? Because he's a witness to a murder. And he knows very well, like many of the citizens of this nation, that if you're a witness to a murder, that you're not going to be protected in any way by the forces that be, by the authorities. So tonight, in addition to the rising crime situation in Fyzabad, where you find that the TTPS remains woefully under-resourced under this incompetent Minister of National Security. And again, we can only hope and pray that this crime will soon be under control. I just also want to put the government quickly on notice that there are 2 matters that, if not dealt quickly, will bring hardship, pain, and suffering to hundreds who use these facilities. The first is the impending collapse of a bridge in St. John's Branch Trace, Avocat, that threatens to maroon some 30 residents and affect hundreds of other citizens who use this bridge for agricultural activities. Residents from this area go to bed every night, not sure whether they will be able to leave their homes the next morning in case the bridge collapses overnight. And of course, this matter has been raised numerous times with the Minister of Works and Transport, and I still trust and hope that this matter will be solved and resolved soon. The other issue is that of a landslide at the cremation site on the Mosquito Creek. Now, this is a glaring issue here, as the mayor is aware, and he's already raised concern. A structure on the compound at Gazebo has already been undermined. But what I'm worried about, ladies and gentlemen, is that this landslide has the potential to undermine the current roadway that leads to the cremation site. And I'm sure many of you here will be familiar with that site where you go, for the final rites of your loved ones. And I want to call upon the Minister of Works and Transport tonight and the Minister of Local Government to do what is necessary and to address these matters urgently. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will now move on to what is happening in the health sector. Recent tragic events at the NICU, that's the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit in the Port of Spain General Hospital, have highlighted how underprepared this government is for dealing with urgent and critical events in our nation's health institutions. You will recall, ladies and gentlemen, that on the morning of Friday, April 12th, about a month ago, the country awoke to the heart-wrenching and tragic news of the deaths of 7 babies within a 4-day period in the NICU at the Port of Spain General Hospital. And of course, this was related to an infectious outbreak, as admitted to in a media release by the Northwest Regional Health Authority. Subsequent to this revelation by the NWRHA, several other parents revealed that their infants had died around the same time in the same unit, the same NICU, and they expressed the suspicion that their babies could have died from the same outbreak of infections. This matter is now in the hands of attorneys representing parents of some 21 babies at this time. We'll let the law take its course. But, ladies and gentlemen, before I go further, as a father, as a medical practitioner, and as a member of parliament with shadow responsibilities for health in the opposition, I again, on behalf of the party, our great party, wish to express our deepest condolences to the parents of these infants on their tragic loss. Following that, ladies and gentlemen, in the parliament, the Minister of Health announced 2 probes into this matter. This happened a month ago, 2 probes were announced. I understand that the PAHO team would have completed their local investigations about 2 weeks ago. The second investigation was to be conducted by the Ministry of Health, led by the Chief Medical Officer. To date, ladies and gentlemen, the country is not aware of the terms of reference of either of these investigations. So we are not sure what is expected from these committees, and we are not aware of any timelines. So I call upon the Minister of Health to tell the country what are the terms of reference of these 2 investigating committees. I ask the Minister to tell the grieving parents, the other anxious expectant mothers, because there are mothers who expect to deliver their babies at the Northwest, at the Port of Spain Hospital, who will be very anxious to find out if everything is back and well. And my colleague here, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, renowned gynecologist obstetrician, knows what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, many are concerned that this matter will be swept under the proverbial carpet in order to avoid accountability, as is the norm for this government. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are worried that the parents will suffer the same fate as the parents of those divers in the Paria incident, the diving incident. So, Minister of Health, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are awaiting the findings and recommendations of these reports. So, before I leave the issue of NICU and move on to some other issues in the health sector, I just want to find out, I want to ask the questions, because, in a NICU, there's something called surveillance, there's something called prevention, and there's something called treatment. You have to have the equipment, you have to have the staff, and you have to have procedures and processes in place to literally spy MP Munilal, to literally spy, but this time you're spying on the bugs that are going to infect, that will infect the NICU. And therefore, you have to have good surveillance systems. And I want to ask whether it is true that because the boiler has been down at the Port of Spain General Hospital since May of 2023, 1 year, ladies and gentlemen, this boiler has been down. This produces steam for sterilizing equipment and linen and so on. That has been down. And what has happened in the interim? The hospital has had to send its linen and instruments and equipment to other facilities to have it sterilized. What that means is that you increase the risk of what we call cross-contamination, so you can send these things out and bring back infection into your own unit. You know, was it due to the inadequate nursing staff in the NICU? Because we are hearing of, you know, what is called not adequate nurse to patient ratio for these small ones. And I also want to ask that, you know, was it because a regular cleaning company with the necessary expertise and experience, you know, was changed recently prior to this incident? I'm only asking, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that perhaps the press may want to ask. Because is it that this change, and now I'm told that the cleaning schedules have been expanded. Instead of 1 week, it's once per month or whatever and so on. I'm not privy to the details of the contract. But is it that this now happened to cut costs? And look what it has cost the mothers of Trinidad and Tobago, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will move on. I just want to make the point that NICU beds are a valuable and scarce resource, and they are limited, especially in low-resource countries. But why do I make that point? I make that point because under the People's Partnership Government, arrangements were put in place at a place called the Couva Hospital to have additional NICU beds. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, when the honorable leader of the opposition, you know, with a well-known history of love and concern for children, raised the matter of the plan for the NICU beds at the Couva Hospital, the Minister of Health was quick on his feet to deny that this was the People's Partnership Government plan at the time. He even tried to put his own spin when clear video evidence, my brothers and sisters, I'm sure many of you by now would have seen that video circulating, showing clearly the then Prime Minister touring the Couva Hospital in 2015 with UNC officials in 2015, and you're seeing state-of-the-art equipment clearly visible, not only for neonates and infants, MP Munilal, who was responsible for UNC at the time, not only for neonates and infants, but of course for many other services. So, but that wasn't enough, you know. Further evidence of equipment and infrastructure emerged from a report from a parliamentary committee side visit to the facility in 2016. Government changed in 2015. In 2016, an oversight committee of the parliament, of which I am a member, visited that facility, and we did a report, and that report was laid in the parliament for all to see. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, in that report, there's clear evidence of the NICU beds in that report. So I urge you, the public, to go and see for yourself. This is not a UNC report. This is a parliamentary committee report. But you know, even then, the minister, despite all this evidence, went on to try to deny that we didn't have provisions. We didn't make provisions for NICU and other services for women and so on at the hospital. And here I have in my hand a letter dated 22nd July 2019. I can't go into the details of this letter, you know, because of time. But basically, this is a letter from UDCOT to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, citing several things that have to be removed from this Couva Hospital, including incubators, NICU incubators, warmers, infusion pumps, ventilators, most importantly, neonatal ventilators to help support young ones. So UDCOT is asking, you know, almost in shock, in surprise, to the Ministry of Health and the PS and the Minister by extension, are you sure that you want to move this equipment from the Couva Hospital to send it to the NCRHA? But I will leave that there tonight, ladies and gentlemen. My time is quickly coming to an end here on this platform tonight, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot more that I want to share with you, but I want to just make a point. There are many issues regarding the SWRHA, which was raised previously in the debate by the Honorable Leader of the Opposition. There remains to be prosecuted a lot more on that issue. But I want to raise an issue with regards to what is happening at the SWRHA, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you who driving past the San Fernando Hospital complex now, you will notice that the 70-year, well, the roof, you wouldn't know it's 70 years old, that the roof of the old SFGH building is currently being changed. You know, we're happy for that. We are good to see a facelift being done. But I have to ask the following questions on behalf of the public. Is the correct gauge of roofing sheets that is suitable and required for hospital buildings being used? I am not sure that is the case. Was a registered engineer involved with the design or review of the roof drawings? In the 3 areas of the SFGH roof that were previously changed, the supporting frame was changed to structural steel, as recommended by a reliable and reputable structural engineering company in this country, and that recommendation was made some years ago. So I am asking here tonight, is it true that wooden rafters are being used to replace the old damaged rafters instead of the steel, ladies and gentlemen? So I trust that the proper job will be done, and this is not a cosmetic and election gimmick. You know, ladies and gentlemen, you know, the workers in the health sector are so fed up of what is passing for governance under this Minister of Health and under this, this government that, you know, have been flooded with so many issues, you know, at the various authorities. But I just, you know, I want to close with one point, ladies and gentlemen. And the point is this, you know, healthcare at the NCRHA is taking on a new service. I am reliably informed, and I hope my source is not so reliable, but because if this is true, this is madness. I am told, and there is evidence, that workers employed by the NCRHA are now planting a garden at the entrance to the RHA. Yes, MP Munilal, they are planting a garden, and the purpose of that, there are various things, bygone and other things, right? And the purpose of this now, this produce is being used to supply the kitchens at the NCRHA. And really and truly, so they are being paid overtime for this, of course. They're not doing it for free. It's not voluntary work. But you know, the question is this, you know, what kind of contractual arrangement is this, Dr. Gopi? Saying you were a former chairman of an RHA yourself before becoming a minister. What kind of arrangement is this? What kind of guarantee is this for food supply? Was this an experiment in something or the other? And whilst this is happening, you know, there's a shortage right now. You can't get certain requirements, certain reagents to supply for blood tests and so on for those patients who require renal dialysis and kidney transplants and whatnot and so on. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I close, I want to say to you tonight that the UNC remains strong under our visionary leader, Kamla Prasad-Bissessa. I urge you, our loyal supporters, to continue to work with us. With your support, we will win both local government elections on the 17th of June. We are on the road to remove this incompetent government whenever the next general elections are called. This great party of ours is overflowing with talented and competent persons to form the next government. And that will be a government that will restore the health care and provide the services and drugs and medications that so many of you now cannot get. That will be a government that will restore hope and bring peace and harmony to an embattled nation. That will be a government that will remove the suffering that you, my brothers and sisters, have been experiencing for close to 9 years. So I urge you to remain strong and focused. Trinidad and Tobago will once again see good governance and good government when Kamla Prasad-Bissessa is returned as Prime Minister to complete the work she started in 2010. Long live our political leader. Long live the United National Congress. I thank you, my brothers and sisters.